answering the only question that matters, why $900 was a bargain, and that the most important letter in the word team is the letter I. Welcome to No Bow Tie, where we conquer emptiness and frustration, discover our uniqueness, and live with relentless joy. I'm John No Bow Tie Swoboda, author and musician. Today we're going to talk about one of the greatest challenges in life, and that is knowing what you really want. Be sure to subscribe. Placing value on what you want is not hard to do on short term. We want the price of gas to go down. We want people to like us. We want our kids to do well in school. We want to get a raise. The list goes on of all of these things that we want in the immediate vision. But looking beyond, what do you really want in life? What do you want your signature to be when it's all over? What contribution do you want to make? What energies do you want to be living day to day? To put value on that decision is really hard when you're bombarded by, the monstrosity of life creeping in under the door, always filling your jar of time and never making it seem possible. One time I was recording an album in St. Louis, downtown St. Louis, up in the lofts. And I was talking to the engineer. It was during the time of going from analog to digital. And we were talking about my buying a piece of equipment called an ADAT machine. And it was out of my price range. I didn't have the money. And the assistant, his name was Wally, he was walking in, stacking boxes and going out. So he could kind of eavesdrop accidentally on what we were talking about. He could hear just bits of it. And one time he walked in our conversation, and he turned around and he said, $900 for something you want? That's a bargain. He turned around and walked out. He didn't know what we were talking about. It was just that we spotted something that we want, something that was pivotal in the direction of life. So when you find something you really want, you can answer why. If you can't, it's a real problem. If you can't answer what's the best thing that this is leading to, it's a problem. Do you hit the emotional want? Are you waiting for life to reveal to you what your life is about? That one day it'll happen. Don't count on that. We're going to take some time and really look at how to know what you want and get involved in it. When you decide what you really want, it can be scary. You're going to have some fear because you're going to be paying attention to the emotional content of your life, of what you see in the future, of what you know you're worth that you're not already getting. And isn't it frustrating to look around and envy other people who are carrying that weight through life with momentum? Don't you want to be one of those people? You want to live that life where when you look in the mirror, you know what you're about and why. You're not just paying attention to somebody else's goal list or somebody else's training of how you should live. When you do, that fear is going to try to stop you. You've got to step up and be ready for that. That fear is going to come because it involves growth. It involves getting what you don't already have. It involves, instead of repeating yesterday, it involves creating tomorrow, and you're going to do it today. In all of life's journeys, the number one thing you owe to yourself is to get away from the pain of the inner loneliness of wanting and start having in your life the accomplishment of getting what you know is you, what you know is a reflection of yourself in this world. How to do that seems without a doubt out of our grasp. Otherwise, you'd already have it. That is why I'm going to give you a head start on how to do that. The two things I want you to consider most on getting started in this new life of knowing what you really want, two things are be able to discern shallow wants and needs from long term. We tend to get addicted as a society to the dopamine of wanting. We scroll so that we satisfy ourselves with entertainment. We even watch news that we already know. So the first thing is to be able to discern from shallow and long-term wants. It's okay to have the pleasures of life, but when the pleasures of life are your goal, you're going to be frustrated. You're going to be back where you started. And one way you can do it is when you choose to do something, ask yourself, what's this leading to? Now, the second thing that I want you to consider, you might want to write this down. It's what I call the 5 I's: interest, intrigue, ideas, inspirations, and last but not least, involvement. So with interest, that's an easy one. You can pay attention to what you're interested in. Quick fix, no big deal. But when you take those interests and single out which ones really intrigue you, does a rerun episode of something intrigue you? No. Does the same old news intrigue you? No. Does new news get your attention? Does what's going on in creative ideas according to your interests? That's intrigue. Intrigue tells you, where could this go? Intrigue starts to build a vision of possibility, which leads to the third I, ideas. When your ideas start to kick in, and they will, your ideas will kick in because you're paying attention to the intrigue. You're massaging that intrigue and you're working it and you're noticing the world in a different way, and your ideas will start to flow. You're going to put two things together that you hadn't put together before. When you do, record it somehow. Write it down, record it, get a voice message, keep a list of these ideas. These are one of the most valuable things in knowing what you really want, because you can listen to them later or read them later, and you can then, again, discern if it's a shallow or if it's truly a long-term one that's going to give you satisfying end in your life. The fourth one, inspirations. As you work those ideas, you can probably feel it already. As you work those ideas, inspiration is going to come. Now, when inspiration fades, and it will, inspiration is not a momentum that sustains itself. It comes and it goes. You have to renew it with new ideas and new work. But when it fades, you have those ideas written down that you can depend on. You do them anyway. Do it, then decide if you should have, is always the principle. And the last one, involvement. Please don't fool yourself with this one. You have to stay involved. As soon as you know what you really want in life, you have to stay involved in it. You have to be swinging at every pitch. You've got to be willing to take failure, and you will. It's going to be scary because you're going to grow. You're going to grow into who you want to become. The value of knowing what you really want that causes pivotal change in your life has more value than almost anything that you can reach for in your physical world. Now that you have the formula for succeeding and taking the step of learning who you are and why you want that to happen, be sure to tune in next week's episode. It's going to be very exciting. We're going to talk about the management of time and why it's complicated and can become very simple, and be the first to get on the email list for this episode. I'm going to leave you with a musical feature written by Dyler Mondo Rice. It's a classical piece called Chodo de Baiana, and I'm going to show you how I have taken the bow tie out of classical music. Have fun, enjoy. We'll see you next week.